Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today, we are continuing our ongoing coverage of Battlefield Promised Land. Yes, the ongoing war between Israel and Hamas. Now, as I have discussed prior, it is an absolute fact that the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, are going to completely annihilate Hamas. That is going to happen. Now, the question is whether the war will expand. Will we see Hezbollah join the fray? Will we see other Arab nation states, possibly even Iran, join the conflict actively? We don't know. Now, we do know that Turkey has been making some various threats, to include war against the Israeli state. Now, is Erdogan serious about attacking Israel? No, he's not. He is not going to do that for a variety of reasons. And those reasons I'm not going to jump into today, but rest assured, Turkey is not going to attack Israel. I think in terms of forward-facing projections, it's more likely that we will see continued turmoil in countries surrounding Israel. Quite possibly Egypt. Egypt, very large country, fairly unstable country as well. And at some point, will the country turn on al-Sisi? Very probable. Then what happens? Who takes over Egypt, and what does that relationship look like? Especially if it's some sort of populist uprising, and as we know, a very large segment of the Egyptian population does not like, you guessed it, Israel. Israel has its own issues. It is a small country, pushing 10 million people. In 1950, the population of Israel was around 1.5 million. The Israelis gave up the Sinai Peninsula post-1973. Given the population expansion of Israel, was that a wise decision? Because ultimately, even though Egypt and Israel have maintained peace post-1973, things change. Regimes change. Shit happens. And at some point, whether it's a year from now, 5 years from now, 20 years from now, we can almost certainly guarantee that there will be a hostile regime in Egypt opposed to the quote-unquote Zionist entity. That's what they call it. Anyway. Now again, as you look at Israel, look at the size of Israel, look at the growth in terms of population, and you look 50 years into the future, can the existing territories within the boundaries of what is now Israel sustain the current population growth? Obviously, if the Israelis puts its population into high-rise apartment blocks, that could be an option. But ultimately, the increase in population is not viable in terms of the size of the current Israeli state. So what is Israel going to do about that? Difficult to say at this moment, but we can almost guarantee that the situation in Gaza is being looked at in terms of some of those forward-facing plans for Israel. It has to be, with absolute certainty. And given what's happened, again, it is highly likely we could see many of the Palestinians that are in Gaza eventually will be driven out of Gaza because of ongoing hostilities. The war will take some time, and Israel is, with absolute certainty, going to destroy Hamas. But what does that look like? What does that look like for Gaza in the future and other surrounding nation states? Very precarious situation at the moment that we'll continue to watch very closely, and we will continue to report on. Thanks for joining us. Have a good day.